All right, let's go. Welcome to Covers His Puck Props with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo live on site for the Canadian RBC Open. How is the course looking today? It's a beautiful day. I thought the boys would be sticking, but what are we seeing? -4 at the top of the leaderboard?
Yeah, surprise scoring considering the conditions and the course. Obviously, a lot drier today, a lot calmer weather when it comes to the sun. But it is windy out here, and maybe that's some of the things that the players are struggling right now, where the wind is maybe playing more of a factor. From where we are on hole 13 on the rink hole to get to my car, you have to ride down the 18 fairway, and it was Rory, Pendrith, and Taylor that was on that 18. So it was a struggle for
Madness.
me to get here because everybody that's here is following that foursome right now. And that foursome, even themselves, that threesome, not really going low. I mean, right now, the leader, I think, is Sam Burns, 4 under through 9, which is something what we expected a little more of. But I don't know. Everybody we talk to says the course is in great shape. It's soft. Players should score well, but maybe day one is providing a little bit more of the challenge considering the wind.
Very important question. Boys getting lubed up on the course right now. Are you seeing some cracked tall cans floating around?
Buddy,
Before 10
8:30
o'clock?
in the morning at the rink hall, people were double fisted with tall boys.
They just can't control themselves in the city.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a gong show there today. Is Overdrive on site there today too?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, goodness
Yeah.
gracious. All right. Well, we got hockey. I appreciate it. Welcome to everybody there in the chat. Good day. Thursday, May 30th. All odds coming via Sports Interaction. Let's go. Quick chime in on last night. Edmonton pulled the reverse Uno card. Down 2-0. Looked like they were absolutely defeated. And pull it back, not just later in the game, pulled it back quickly in the first period to tie things up and get everything going, and then popped another 2-pack in that second period. Going to be like that Vancouver series where it just goes back and forth?
Yeah, I think this is a series that looks like it's heading towards 7 games. You would think after 4 games, yeah, it'd go 7, but I mean, the Tanev news is massive for
They're
Dallas.
still rolling 5 defensemen too, right? Which is big. They don't,
That's where I think the
game.
Yeah, the game sort of tilted into Edmonton's favor yesterday, where when he left the game, Edmonton's top players just found more room on the ice.
Yeah.
And so that's something you definitely need to pay attention to, because as thin as Dallas is on defense, if they lose Tanev, I don't know how you replace his top 4 minutes and how much of an advantage that could create for Edmonton in the next best 2 out of 3. So you like to think that this is a series that's on the verge of going 7, but if Tanev doesn't play, I could easily see Edmonton winning the next 2 games.
Yeah, Dallas had Draisaitl on lockdown at home with the last change matching up with Tanev, and now that matchup might not exist in Game 5. So it could be big guns for Edmonton that could be winning. And Dallas just doesn't look like a team that can win. Usually we see that negative game script where you're losing and then you're getting the shots on net and you're driving that offense. You never really see it from Dallas. So they're a tough team to back on like shots like in a negative game script. So it's tough for me to back Dallas in that situation where, they'll probably trail. Let's hit some shots. I don't see them being able to dominate the shot attempts like we see with Florida.
No, you're absolutely right. And so, and look, if you look at this 4 games as a whole, like there was really only one period that Dallas really dominated, and that was in Game 3, period 2, right? So, I was surprised to see Dallas get off to the quick start that they did. I mean, for all the attention that Skinner and Darnell Nurse were getting before that game started, the 2 goals that go in, you're looking at Skinner, first shot of the game, you're like, oh boy. And then the second one bounces in off of Nurse, and it's like, how much worse can this get? And then it's the guy who got benched in Game 3, Kyle McLeod, who ends up getting them on the board, and it just seemed like that goal just helped spark Edmonton in their comeback.
Old Stanky was credited with that goal first. It went off Nurse's dumper there in the corner, but I needed that for the line point. Didn't get it. Adam's Digest, Adam Renkamp in the chat there saying glasses are back. Appreciate it, pal. And guess what? Good call on the McDavid over 3.5 shots. He looks like he's going to be shooting the rest of the series, and hopefully we can get that at plus money going forward. But today, another big day. 3 straight overtime games. Florida comes in, minus 125 road favorite. Total starting to fall, minus 130 to the under 5.5. No, we haven't got any plays out yet, Adam. Producer Mick not in the house right now, so I'm running the buttons. Alexis Lafreniere over 2.5 shots plus 105. That's what you like. There's a spot, but we're talking about someone else is adding. I'm still running Kreider under until he does anything in the series. I don't blame you. My first play, I'm going to his line mate in Mika Zibanejad for under 0.5 points plus 140. I'm going to take the extra 40 points. The noise, as a Toronto fan, it is so nice to hear a fan base just vilify their players like we do. And it's so loud. Like they have turned on Mika Zibanejad. The series is 2-2, and they have absolutely turned on Mika, Kreider, and they were getting loud on Panarin going into that game, who hadn't done much either. But Zibanejad, we're getting this price because he gets more touches on the power play than Kreider does. But the power play is kind of losing its focus as you get into this best of 3 with fewer penalties being called, right? You saw it late in the third period where the refs didn't really want to call too many penalties. And they obviously didn't want to call that They didn't want to call that penalty shot. But -3 so far in the series, no points, hasn't really shown up. That line doesn't really have a lot of chemistry. Is there any reason to expect, and I'm sure you're not out here, Carlo, thinking that the over is an easy play. A lot of money coming in on the under, especially with Florida probably erasing a lot of the ice. Just keep fading these guys who are dealing with a lot of pressure at home.
Yeah, I think you do, and it's not just the players that are struggling. I mean, aside from the Trocheck goal that they scored last game, their power play hasn't been scoring either, right? And this is where a guy like Zibanejad is probably going to find his extra ice. And I just think, and anybody that watches Florida, the longer the series goes, the more it favors Florida because they're built to wear teams down. And so for Zibanejad, as much as he's been struggling, I think you got to, especially at plus 140, I mean, you got to ride the value while it's there, while a guy's struggling. And if he ends up breaking out of it, you clap your hands and say, okay, well, at least it was worth a try. But right now, with the way Florida's playing and how much tougher the next couple games are going to be, it's hard to play with pressure this time of year, man.
Yeah, Chris Johnson was on your show. He got the double playback today from the early interview and the 9:45 whatever interview today, correct?
Mike Johnson.
I do it every time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I met them, I might be able to distinguish the two of them. But anyway, MJ was there talking about it, and he's obviously has a great finger on the pulse of everything. He was mentioning how banged up those Ranger players are. He's like, Fox is hurt. We don't hear much of that. And who else was he saying has like a cast on their hand?
Oh, Trocheck.
Yeah, which is insane because the guy's still producing.
Yeah.
But the boys are, and that's where your conversation was, and that's where MJ's conversation went too. That Florida wants to, like, the longer the series goes, the more banged up the Rangers are going to be because that just feeds into what Florida can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see how this plays out. And you could say the same thing in this series too. It's 2-2, but if you were to evaluate the 4 games, Florida's been the way better team.
Oh yeah, and the Rangers and we'll get to this play right here. The Rangers are happy. They did it versus Carolina. They're doing it versus Florida. They are happy giving up 100 shot attempts in a game versus their 35. They've had to place Carolina. Now they're playing Florida, 2 of the teams that dominate shot attempts in the game. And obviously it changes a bit when they get home. Florida is going to generate more shot attempts at home than they are on the road. But Verhaeghe on this top line with Barkov obviously in Reinhart, looks to be the one. And I don't know if they're going to be able to slow them down. This is a guy I'm taking the over 3.5 all the way to the bank in every game for the rest of the series, as long as I'm getting it at minus 105 or better, and we're getting it at plus 105. 20 shots at home, 20 shot attempts at home in game 3, 10 shot attempts at home in game 4. He had the 4. He finished with 4, but he got 4 early, and I had him laddered. He didn't have anything else. But what have you seen from this top line? I mean, Barkov's the man, but Verhaeghe is the absolute guy he's looking to get the puck to.
Well, what I see is a very confident line right now with the way they're not just producing points, but the way they're playing offense. Just feels like they're generating a lot every time they're out there. And Verhaeghe's got a lot of his swagger back, right? This guy all season has been their trigger man on the power play with Barkov and Tkachuk playing half wall and goal line. So I'm not surprised that he's a guy right now they're heavily leaning on, because they're just finding a way. And if Fox is as hurt as he is, it provides more of an advantage.
I hate the fact that the one day we played him on the under, which is going to be the only game that he points it. Yeah, he points early. You're like, damn. And he never have enough balls to get back. Yeah. But that's it. And you mentioned the power play. Usually you want guys that have the shot attempts, who get the touches. Verhaeghe plays that bumper role, but as soon as he pops out, it's shot on net, right? It's set up, and wait for him to pop, and then the shot on net is there. So look for a spot like that. And I don't know if you saw the goal. You obviously saw the Reinhart goal. Did you see where Trouba was on that PK?
Why was he so high? I don't know. I asked myself the same question. I'm like, why is he being so aggressive? You're allowing Florida to set that play up.
Yeah, he already spends time on the boards trying to win that battle, and then from that board, he goes up to the defenseman when he probably should have collapsed, and then it was just dink, 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 game over.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Oh, Trouba, you absolute beauty. And I have no sympathy for Rangers fans, because they're just crying about that elbow wasn't on his head. You're like, just shut up and take it. Trouba's an absolute manimal on the ice. It's the same thing crying about Marchand. Just deal with it and move on. Yeah. Carlo, you have a nice internet connection in that Nissan Skyline, and he's saying you got a Nissan Skyline. I don't believe it.
No, this is an Acura MDX, man.
Ooh, there you go. Swap it out. Let's go.
Is my connection bad?
Oh, Nissan. Oh, you're getting chirped. No, he's just joking with you.
Oh
no, he got up. No, he got up. All right, so we're on Verhaeghe over 3.5 shots. Like this still, even on the road without last change. We hit Z for no points at plus 140, which is a fantastic price. And as I like the under, I'm going back to the race. The under's minus 130, could close at minus 135. Let's go race to 4 goals, neither, minus 120. This is 3-3 is a win. So this cashes in regulation.
Okay.
So the 3-3 is still there, which is not something I'm too worried about. But are we at the point in the series, much like the Toronto-Boston series, much like the other later series, where it's a best of 3? There's not going to be much ice. Yeah. Even 2-0 leads will hold on. Even goals in the first period don't mean much, because things will just slow down late in the game.
Yeah, I think we are at a point in the series. I mean, the longer the series goes between two good teams, the more adjustments are made, and obviously the more time and space gets eliminated in that game. You probably see a lot of checking that goes on, because both teams don't want to make a mistake. And I think the most important thing is if you got 2 world-class goaltenders playing in this, and they have been difference makers. Well, they have been not difference makers, but they can be difference makers in these type of games.
Yeah, again, all odds coming via Sports Interaction. Everybody's throwing some plays out there in the chat. Appreciate it. The overpoint player and under 6.5 is plus money, says David. There's a spot where you can get a little negative correlation on a bunch of plays, and then hit that under 7.5 or under 6.5 to bump it up. Not expecting a lot of offense in this game, at least not a lot of goals, especially with Igor coming off that game. He was fired up. right?
Yeah.
You've taught me, Carlo, that there are sight lines in certain barns that goalies get adjusted to. Bob looked great at MSG, the shutout in the first game. I think he stopped 52 of 54. Is there anything you like about Bob in this spot where, I mean, he can look shaky, but Florida's just a team that can shut down and keep the Rangers to 18 shots.
Sorry, you're asking me about Bob or Shesterkin?
Bob. Like,
Bob,
can you trust Bob?
Look,
like, I'm trusting Shesterkin, but is Bob trust enough
I can trust Bob. I can trust Bob because, if anything, I would have lost trust with him to start the season. But this is a guy over a long period of time that has shown that he's clearly the goaltender that was the Vezina Trophy winner and not the guy that couldn't stop a beach ball and was very close to being thrown to Throbota Island at some point last year. So, yeah, I can trust Bob, and I think the Florida Panthers trust him too. And it's not just Bob. You got to trust the way Florida plays team defense, right? They do a hell of a job blocking shots too. So I think that the combination of all that has got to make you feel really good about both Florida's chances and this game staying, close and tight. I mean, they played 3 straight overtimes, man. I mean, how can you not expect something like that to play? I would even sprinkle an overtime bet as well if this trend continues.
All right, Big Z, no points, plus 140. Absolutely love the 40-point difference between him and Kreider. I mean, if you're going to take swings on the under points, take them on big plus monies. I enjoy that. We're looking at like 2-2. Like, if it smells like another 2-2 game coming in, right? And 1-1 would be a little surprising, but 2-2 probably the likely outcome. Z just feeling the pressure, and the New York market is absolutely turning on him. And then, because I've lost my tabs, I got to type them back in, and now I got to type Zibanejad and Verhaeghe on the spot, which is always fun.
Yeah, good luck
Verhaeghe, I guess. Zibanejad, I sometimes mess up, but and then Verhaeghe over 3.5 shots on goal, plus 105, like that. Plus the neither race to goals. That's what we're on, minus 120. If you're looking for points, if you're a point guy, and that's the only way you bet. I like guys like Lafreniere, who's obviously looking great on that top line. Don't buy into the power play extra juice here. Like, you can get a little value with those guys who are on good lines, but PP2, like Lafreniere, because probably won't be as many penalties. He's about minus 110 for a point. And then this has like a Sam Bennett game feel to it. Like the Sam Bennett Kachuk line, like they're going to be banging today. Sam Bennett got the goal in the last game. I believe he's plus 120 for a point today. So that's another look to have in that spot. But let's get this man on his way. He don't stop working. I'm sure he's got more to do today and one more day on site tomorrow, bud. And it looks like you're going to get sunshine and rainbows all day in Hamilton.
Love it. It's the way it should be at this beautiful event.
All right. Last thing, overtime plus 320. That is tempting. Good luck, boys. Thanks, Adam. Thanks to everybody there in the chat. Now we'll wrap up Thursday's edition of NHL Puck Prop presented by Sports Interaction on Covers. Appreciate you, boys. We'll be back here tomorrow. I'm off, but I'm going to step in and try to get some hockey bets in anyway. So probably same time, maybe 10:05 as Carlo navigates his way on you're not on one of those scooters again this year, are you?
No, there's no path for it. It's all grass, right?
Oh, footpath, yuck.
And it's so wet out here, so I don't want to carry the mud into my car afterwards. So
not that Nissan Skyline, right? All right, bud. Appreciate it as always. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. This is NHL Puck Prop presented by Sports Interaction. Lead us out, pal.
All right, sounds good. Let's get some winners tonight. Enjoy.
Deal.